Hello YouTube. I've tried this video a few different ways, but I think what I'm going to do is give you my top 10 tips for getting faster at moving events. It is one of the questions I get asked the most nowadays, and a lot of people want to know. The obvious one is to train yoke and farmers, but there are a lot of other things that I'm going to cover in this video that can make you better. First thing, top tip, number 1, technique, 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 technique. You've got to do something well before you can do it fast. This goes for loads of different activities and sports. If you can't do it well to start with and nice and slow and controlled, you're not going to be able to do it well fast. So practice your technique. What you want to start off your run with short steps. You want to keep your hips under the weight, whether that's a yoke or farmers. You want to keep your hips in line with the implements. You want to gradually build momentum. And then as you build a little bit of momentum, you can increase your stride length. As you build momentum, which will build your speed, and gradually, as you accelerate, you'll keep yourself nice and in line with the implements and go up to top speed. Once you hit top speed and you're in a good rhythm, you want to maintain that rhythm. You don't want to rush, you don't want to change anything. You're going to be a little bit fatigued, so if you've got a good rhythm, just keep in that same groove, same turnover, same stride length, and push all the way to the line. Don't try and do anything crazy, and that'll have you going nice and fast. Top tip number 1, done. Top tip number 2, breathing. You need to breathe. Unless you have a really short run or you're going to go very fast on a ridiculous light weight, you're going to have to breathe. You need the oxygen to your muscles. Obviously, to pick anything up, you want to have a big abdominal brace. But after that, what I like to do is take 1 breath per step. It just acts as a good pacemaker and keeps you in a really good rhythm. You want to take some air out and take some air back in, but you don't want to completely breathe everything out and breathe everything back in, because it'll make your core collapse and you'll likely drop the implements. So imagine you take a full breath of air. You want to breathe out the top half and replace the top half. So you go nice short fast breaths, but you're not panicking and you're not letting all your air out and then all the way back in. A little bit out, a little bit in, and that'll see you well. And if you can keep that 1 breath per step, that'll set you in a really good rhythm. Top tip number 2. Top tip number 3, foot speed. If you can't move fast without weight, you ain't going to move fast with a weight. So think about if you're just walking around day to day, and if you couldn't sprint pretty quickly with no weight on you, you're probably never going to be the fastest yoke carrier. So there's a few things we can do to improve. Top tip number 3 specifically is footwork drills. This could be agility ladders, cone drills, anything like that. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. If it's too complicated for your athletic level, it's just not going to benefit you. You want to start off with something fairly simple, and then you can build up the complexity a little bit. If you have a look on YouTube just for some footwork agility drills, you'll see absolutely loads. A lot of NFL videos, a lot of tennis videos, badminton videos, things like that. Basically, just want to learn to move your feet fast and get that coordination built up. And then if your body can move fast without any weight on, once you start to put load on, it'll just be aware of how to move fast and it'll be able to adapt, and you're moving event times. It's top tip number 3. Top tip number 4, linked very closely to footwork drills. Again, another sport speed drill, hill sprints. Sprinting on the flat ground is obviously as fast as you're ever going to be able to move, and if you're a good sprinter, you're probably going to be a good mover under any weight with a little bit of practice. From what I've seen, athletics guys that get into Strongman do really well at moving events pretty much instantaneously. Trouble with sprinting, if you're not used to it, it can put quite a strain on a lot of muscles, a decent risk of injury, and the risk to reward ratio is not necessarily the best. However, if you do hill sprints, you reduce some of the risk of injuries, reduce some of the eccentric loading, and the hill will force you to maintain pretty good sprint mechanics. So even if you're not great sprinting, it will force you into what will be a decent-ish kind of running form. Hill sprints will still let you train your foot speed really well, but it'll just be a little bit safer. I would carry on with really short runs of 10, 15, 20 metres, maybe 5 to 10, maybe probably 5 runs per set, and then 3 or 4 sets of that as one workout. You want quite a lot of rest, so don't be knackering yourself thinking it's a high intensity interval training workout, nothing like that. Sprint, walk back down, sprint, do your set, rest a few minutes, and then go again. It's all about maximum intensity, maximum speed, and if you're doing hill sprints, make sure you have a very good thorough warm-up to really reduce that risk of injury. That is top tip number 4. Top tip number 5. We've got technique down, we've got our foot speed improved, and then what we need to do, we need to get stronger. Seems pretty obvious. If you've got a 400 kilo yoke to do and you can squat 150, then you've just got some basic static strength to improve on. I'm not going to go into how to improve your static strength because that could be a very, very, very long video. But what we need to do is realise that if we have a certain goal on a moving event and our static strength isn't up to par, sometimes you just need to take time to build the gym strength in order to actually get to that weight. Top tip number 6. Struggling with these numbers now. We've got our basic strength, squats, deadlifts. The next one is single leg strength. Biggest thing I see lacking in people's programs. We spend so much time on one leg in awkward positions in Strongman, but we don't prepare for that in the gym. We're doing squats, and we're doing deadlifts, and we're doing bench presses, doing overhead presses, everything with our feet planted. We need to train with our feet not planted, we need to train with our feet moving, staggered stances, on one leg, and all that great stuff. So, unilateral work. My go-tos would be reverse lunges and step-ups for a beginner. If you haven't done any unilateral work before, start with that. Start with very little weight or possibly body weight. Improve that up. I would like someone to be able to do reverse lunges with at least a third of their body weight for 5 reps on each leg. Ideally a little bit more, but if you can do a third of your body weight, 5 reps on each leg, you're in a decent spot and it's not going to be a glaring weakness. So that's your goal. If you squat 200 kilos, wait, did I say body weight? I think I said a third of your body weight. What I meant is a third of your max squat. And if I said a third of your max squat, then I made a mistake by thinking I made a mistake. If your max squat is 200 kilos, ooh, that's complicated. If your max squat is 210 kilos, that means you can do 5 reps on each leg reverse lunge with 70 kilos on your back. Not the biggest weight, not anything massive, but it'll just give you a decent single leg base. If you can push that up to half your max squat, so 105 on each leg, then you're pretty much there for your single leg strength, but you will see big carryovers to your moving events. Top tip number 7. And now we're going to have core training. So, our posterior trains are strong, your back's strong, hips strong, glutes strong, hamstrings are strong. If you do strongman or strongwoman. However, the front, abdominals, the hip flexors are probably a little bit weak. Not too many people do core training, or at least core training effectively. So what we're going to do for this one, we're going to do hollow holds and hanging knee raises. A hollow hold is a very basic gymnastic movement. It's pretty much the foundation of all gymnastic movements. However, if you can't hold a hollow hold without vibrating, then something's wrong. So what we're going to do, we're going to aim to do a hollow hold in a perfect position with your arms overhead for 40 seconds. That's what I want you to try and build up to. I would do your core work 2 or 3 times a week. You can do it a little bit in your warm-up, and it'll just get those hip flexors working. As well as the hollow holds, we're going to do some hanging leg raises. What you do, hang from a chin-up bar, bring your knees up as high as they'll go, and back down. So our goal with that is we'll hang from a chin-up bar, bring our knees up as high as you can go for 3 sets of 12 reps. And that's 3 sets of 12 reps where you bring your knees up, you come down, you keep tension on your abs, you're not flopping at the bottom, you're not swinging up. It's strict movement, legs out straight, knees up high, back down straight, keeping tension all the way through for the full set. That's our goal. If you improve your core strength and your hip flexors, you'll reduce risk of injury, your body will be more confident to move and let you take bigger strides and more powerfully stride out in front and lift your legs up when you're moving. If they tie, your body just won't want to move anywhere, and it'll just basically tell you to stop, and it'll hurt, and everything will just feel awkward, feel like you're running through mud. Top tip number 8 is light, fast runs. So when we're training yoga farmers, we don't want to be doing 50, 60 metre runs. We don't want to be absolutely knackered every time we do a set. We want to do short runs with a high quality of work. So we're going to do 10, 15, 20 metres, probably 100 metres total volume max I would do in a session for your working sets. And you're going to go with a somewhere between 60 to 70% to start with of your max weight. And you're just going to go fast, and it's going to be good quality. For me, for yoke, I do a lot of work between 300 and 350, and I make sure I move fast and quickly throughout all the sets. And if it's slow, I'll drop down. Sometimes I'll go down to 260, and I don't really care about the weight. As long as I'm practicing good, fast, fluid movement, then I'm happy. Top tip number 9. We're almost there. Warming up. A lot of people don't warm up at all for the yoke. Say they do log first and then they'll do farmer's walk outside. They'll just do a few sets, everything a bit tight, and hopefully loosen off by the time you do warm-up sets. What you're going to do, you're going to do a proper warm-up. You're going to do some single leg weight. You're going to do some lunges and reverse lunges. You're going to stretch your hip flexors. You're going to stretch your hamstrings, and you're going to stretch your glutes. You're going to do some lateral lunges. So you're stepping out to the side. You're going to warm up your hips in a couple of different planes, a couple of different angles, and it'll just get you ready for the demands you're going to go under for the moving event. You're going to do a little bit of footwork, so if you can do some high knees, you're going to get your feet moving fast, you're going to warm your ankles up, you're going to stretch your calves. Basically, you just want a decent full body warm up that gets you ready for moving. Imagine if you were warming up to go for a little run, that's what you want to be doing. So you want to be moving in different planes, you want to be moving fast, and you just want to get everything loose so that when you get on that first set of the moving event, or it's yoga farmers, it feels nice. If it feels tight and horrible and stiff, go back, do a bit more warming up, get loosened off. Because every set you do on that moving event should feel fast, and it should be pushing you towards a goal. It shouldn't just be, oh, eventually this might feel good and I might get a bit faster. Top tip number 10. 10 seconds. The 10-second rule. This is for sets of 20 meters. If you're doing sets of 20 meters on carries and your time is above 10 meters, above 10 seconds, you're going to stay at that weight. If it's massively above, you're going to drop the weight down. If it's 10, 11, 12, you're going to keep on that weight. You're going to try and improve it down. And when it gets under 10 seconds, then you're going to push the weight up. It's a simple rule, but it works really well because for most events, at the level you're at, if you go under 10 seconds with 20 meters in a yoke of farmers, you're going to be high up in the points. If you're below 10 seconds, you're probably going to be mid-table, dropping down to the lower end. So that's why we want to do most of our work. We want a weight that we can do in about 10 seconds, and when that starts dropping into the 9s, if it drops under 9s, then we're going to put a little bit of weight on and then try and bring that one back down under 10. And we're going to repeat that process and keep it there. Occasionally have to go heavy or lighter when we've done a lot of work like that, but to start with, you'll get away with probably a good year of just working on 10 seconds for 20 meters. Right guys, that's my top 10 tips for improving moving event speed. So I hope you enjoyed it. Obviously at the moment we're under lockdown, hopefully it won't be too long, but a lot of those tips you can improve on and practice without any kit. You can do your footwork drills, you can do your hill sprints, you can do your core training, you can do your warm-ups and all that kind of stuff with no kit, and it is something to practice on and that will give you a direct carryover into events when we are all back training. So I hope that helps. I get asked this a lot, so I wanted to clear some things up because it's obviously quite a long video. I didn't want to... People have been asking me and I've said I'd do a video on it for a long time, so there it is. And if there's any other questions, drop it in the comments or message me. Moving events are quite a complicated subject. There's a lot involved with it, so it's something that needs a lot of direct attention. It's not just a case of, oh, if my squat goes up, my yoke will go up. Oh, thanks a lot, guys. Peace.